Morning guys, Zach here. If you were watching my channel last night, you saw that I did my first unboxing for the Spartan Akribis folding knife. Now, this is actually the first folding knife offering from Spartan Blades. They said they wanted to get their feet wet in the knife market before jumping in and making a folder. So all of their other blades up to this point have been fixed blade knives. If you know anything about Spartan, you know that they name all of their knives after different Greek words. The Akribis, they say, is the Greek word for sharp and precise. So that gives you a little bit of background there. Let's get this guy up to the camera and give you just a couple views of it. Alright, now brief overall specs on the knife. I'll have them down below, but this is essentially a titanium frame lock, okay, with a blade length of 3.5 inches of S35 VN steel. The overall length on it is about 8.5 inches, and it comes in at a weight of about 5.2 ounces. Alright, the handle scales are G10. So let's take a look at it here. I said it was a titanium frame lock. Some of you might be wondering, well, it looks like it's got G10. That would be a liner lock, right? Well, I think it's all semantics, really. What you're getting really is a frame lock in this case. You can see the titanium sticks out here to the end of the knife, and then if I show it to the camera, you'll see that the titanium is actually these are actually full titanium scales. Okay, so that is just your typical titanium frame locking knife with G10 overlays. Now this blade comes in a couple configurations. It comes in either G10, which is the one I picked up, or in carbon fiber with overlay in carbon fiber. The carbon fiber version I think is about $45 more. And also the blade comes in two different colors, either the black Spartan coat or this meteorite gray. So I think they're both DLC type finishes. On my other Spartan blades, the finish has held up well to use. Okay, so that gives you the overall specs on this guy. Take a look at some of the details now. You've got a tip down right hand carry pocket clip. It's got a nice arrow. You can see this nice arrow they have cut in here. It's kind of cool. Attached with a binder bolt, which I think is something pretty unique to folding knives. I haven't seen a binder bolt used in this way at all on any other offerings, so I think that's kind of a cool touch. If I get it right up here to my camera, you can see that they actually have their Spartan Blades written right there on the binder, which is a nice little detail too. The G10 is your typical peel ply type. It comes grippy, kind of like an Emerson, or kind of like the Spydercos. Some of the Spydercos, like the paramilitary, come out of the box. I carried it around a little bit last night. It's already starting to smooth out a little bit, so it's very nice. On the back side, or the top of the blade here, you'll see you have, it's not an open architecture. It's completely closed off by what I believe is a G10 backspacer that runs the entire length of the handle and actually wraps around here all the way around. Okay, you get a nice short run of jimping on the blade. That jimping might have been able to be a little bit longer, but it's still pretty functional how it is. If it was just a little bit longer for my thumb, I might just have a really long thumb. I'm not sure, the hiker thumb. But yeah, it's functional. It's good jimping, as you should have. Dual thumb studs. However, this knife is set up for right-hand carry, and it's only right-hand carry. I don't know if they're going to make a lefty version or what, like Chris Reeves does on some of his offerings, but this one, you'd think you'd be able to switch the pocket clip from left to right. Well, you really can't. It's notched in right here, and the binder bolt actually holds it down to put some spring tension on the pocket clip. So it is set up for right hand tip up carry only. And then also you have, you know, this piece of G10 is milled out for your index finger, which is very nice actually. If I can get it on the camera here without knocking it over, see if you're holding it here, it just makes a perfect indent for your index finger, which is nice, very nice. And you know, it's what you would expect on a high-end knife at this price point. Blade came extremely sharp, you know, also how you would expect, so no complaints there. So I mean, that's the overall you know, the initial overview and first, I guess, some of the first looks at the Spartan Akribis folder. It is incredibly smooth. It's just, very little bit of pressure with your thumb. It's got a good detent, and that blade just comes flying out. It's, you know, it's hard to get a good crack on it, and there you go, when you're in front of the camera, but you can get it just screaming out of there. It's very, very smooth. I love the smoothness. Probably one of my favorite things about this blade so far. The lock bar has no stick whatsoever. Very easy to disengage with my thumb one-handed, which I like to do. You know, I like that. I kind of look at knives, different frame locks, and you know, if it's difficult for me to get my thumb in there and close it one-handed, that is not cool to me. I'm not a big fan of that. I like to be able to get in there. I don't want to have both hands on the knife to get in there and disengage the blade. So this one, not an issue there whatsoever. In fact, it is so smooth, you got to be kind of careful when you are disengaging this frame lock, because this blade will come back down and cut your thumb. I mean, it's that smooth. So something to keep in mind there. Okay, you'll notice that the pivot is not accessible from the outside. Now we're going to kind of get into, I don't know if I'll call them criticisms or what, but just some observations. So you've got no pivot at all on the outside of the knife. The blade centering on mine is slightly off, as you can see there. And I was messing around with it a little bit last night, and I actually tried to I asked the guys over at Spartan, you know, what the deal was, and what they tell me is that you've got a bushing that rides tight between these two slabs of titanium, and then it rides on bronze washers on the outsides of those, and they hone the bushing to fit to the outsides, or to the inside, excuse me, of this titanium here, so that when you put the pivot screw in and everything tightens up, you get no blade wiggle, which, you know, I think that's kind of similar to what you're going to get in a Chris Reeve knife. You tighten down the pivot and there really isn't any adjustment. Fully tight is where the pivot screw needs to be for the knife to function properly. Alright, but yeah, I do have a slight bit of off-centering on my blade. I can hold it over there, you'll see it'll line up perfectly. Doesn't hinder the opening or the function of it whatsoever. It doesn't rub on the sides. It's just something I thought I would note. You know, you want these things to be perfect. You know, not to beat up on Spartan too bad, but you want everything in a knife at this price point to be perfect when you get it. Okay, so you notice I have some tools out here in front of me. I'm going to take a page out of Carter's book, and actually I'm going to take off this scale to kind of show you how this thing is put together. I'm not going to do a full teardown on it or anything, but just to take off this scale and show you what you've got underneath. I've got a 3/16 Allen wrench out just to show you that this binder bolt here that holds the pocket clip in, it is actually a 3/16 Allen wrench, so common stuff, no proprietary hardware, easy to take apart and disassemble. So without further ado, and to save some time, let's get this guy apart. And you're using a T7 on the handle scales. There's your standard T7 Torx. You've got these 3 screws to take out. And I've already done this, so I know the big surprise of what's underneath here. Alright, so we get those out. Take the scale off. Okay, so I wasn't lying to you. Here's your titanium slab And you have the same thing on the other side. I've had both sides off. And the pivot screw is on the non-clip side. So if you get this and you want to take it apart and you just want to get to the pivot screw sticks out on the non-clip side of the blade. You need a T9, I believe it is. Yeah, the pivot is a T9 or a T8. Let's see, which one was it? I'm going to strip her out. Pivot was a T9. Okay, so you can break it free there. You hear that nice positive snap when I break it free. Alright, so you get, it's loose. You got the pivot loose. And to illustrate what I was saying earlier about the pivot being tight, put all the torque on it, blade still comes flying right out. So it's kind of, let's say, idiot-proof in that matter. You tighten down the pivot fully, and the blade still operates as smooth as can be, because you have the bushings there pressing against both sides of these titanium scales, so they won't physically allow you to over tighten the blade. Alright, what else do you guys notice about this? So I've taken apart, I had the binder out earlier, I put it back in for the video. You can't actually take this thing apart very easily on your own, which I'm going to say that's a minor criticism, maybe even a major criticism if you're a type of person who likes to get inside and really lube up your bushings or your bearings or however your knife is set up. But after you take off the handle scales, you've got these three holes here, and if you were to pull out this binder bolt, this thing still won't, and take out the pivot, this scale will still not pull off. And I don't know if it's going to show up here, but you've got two tiny holes right here, okay, in the handle scale, and what you've got there is a pin. You've got a pin basically pushed through. The pin pushes through from one scale through the back spacer and into the other scale. It's a roll pin, your standard roll pin. So, I mean, you could take it apart, but you're going to need to punch out that roll pin on both sides to get it completely apart. So, I didn't really feel the need to do that, so I left it all together. I just wanted to show you that it doesn't just come quickly apart like a CRK or some of the other high-end knives. Alright, so hopefully I've covered everything you guys wanted to see with this. Incredibly smooth knife. Will I keep it? Yes, I will keep it. I like it quite a bit, even though I can't take it apart and even though it's slightly off-centered. The centering issue, although I'd like it to be perfect for a high-end knife like this, doesn't at all hinder the use of it. And that's been it. So have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching.